You are here for the Levelling Up and Regional Roundup session. So before we get started, I'm just going to run through the housekeeping rules. If you've been to any of our sessions over the past couple of days, you'll know these off by heart by now. And I'm pleased to tell you this is the final time I've got to go through these this year. So when you're not speaking, please can you ensure your camera's off and your microphone is muted. This will avoid any background noise during the session. We will be recording this session to share with delegates afterwards, so please keep this in mind if you are putting any comments in the chat or raising your hand to say anything, as it will show on that recording. If for any reason your internet or laptop connection fails, please note down the dial-in details. These can be found by clicking the three little dots along the top bar and going to meeting details, and it's all in there. And please do use the chat function throughout. I don't think we'll have any time for a formal Q&A at the end of this, but most of our chairs are with us. All of our OPSS leads, I think I added an extra S then, OPSS leads are with us, so there's somebody from each region that'll be able to answer any questions you've got or respond to any comments. But if we do have time, of course, we will open it up. So this session is a little bit different to the sessions that we've had earlier this week. The first 45 minutes is going to be spent in this room, and we'll be hearing from each of the regions on a piece of work that they've done over the past kind of 12 months or something that they think would be useful for everybody to hear. And then we will be breaking out at about 11:15, depending on how good my time management skills are, into individual regional breakout rooms. The links for those will go into the chat at about 11:15, and when that does go, I'll go through kind of how we're going to run the second half. So before we get started going around the regions, I'm conscious this session's called Levelling Up. I was really hoping to have a Levelling Up white paper and be able to tell you all the great things it says, all the great ways that we can make better business for all and primary authority align with its ambitions. But we don't have it, so I can't really say very much about it. I will touch very briefly on the Build Back Better paper that launched sometime last year. I'm not even going to pretend. If you've been in sessions with me, I keep putting dates out there that are completely wrong, so I'm not even going to attempt it. At some point last year, and it replaced the industrial strategy. So the aims are very similar to the industrial strategy, and it is just a shift of the work that we're already doing opposed to a complete overhaul. The focus is, of course, on recovery, whereas industrial strategy was growth. One of the key things throughout it is innovative regulation. There's a whole chapter on regulation, which was absolutely delighted when it was published. Innovative regulation, so sandboxes, net zero innovative things, and that is the theme of today. So we've got a innovative regulation session at a time that I'm hoping somebody in local delivery is going to put in the chat, which will cover a regulator's pioneer funding bid that was successful and the regulatory sandbox. And we've also got a net zero session this afternoon. I think that one's at 12:30. Well, yeah, we'll be talking about net zero things. So if you've not signed up and you're interested in hearing about innovative regulation, please find the links in the delegate packs. So the three kind of core aims in the regulation section are about modernising approaches, easing burdens and cutting red tape, and boosting competition. And personally, and I hope you all feel that primary authority and Better Business for All are the perfect vehicles for supporting those three aims. And that then means that the SRNs, the Strategic Regulatory Networks, and the PARGs, the Primary Authority Regional Groups, are the perfect places to come together to discuss supporting those three aims. So I think that's a perfect time now to move over into our regions now and hear from each of those. So we've got a couple of different recordings and then we've got some live. So bear with me while I switch between live and recording. So our first regional update is coming from the North East, which is a PowerPoint presentation that's been recorded. Judith is joining us a bit later on, who is the chair of the North East. If you are interested in anything to do with it, she will be in the chat a bit later on. But I am the OPSS lead for the North East, so I'm sure I can answer some questions. So please let me know if you can't hear this.
Hi, I'm Pamela Collins. I'm the Regulatory Compliance Officer for Environmental Health, Trading Standards and Licensing at Sunderland City Council. I'm actually part of a much bigger regional network that looked to modernise its response to COVID and to some of the demands that it placed not only on us as regional local authorities, but on our local businesses too, and with the help of funding provided to the North East Strategic Regulatory Network by OPSS. Without doubt, responding to the COVID-19 pandemic has thrown up new challenges for all public sector organisations, but we, as a region, recognised early that we had a responsibility to be key players in facilitating COVID-secure behaviour in the public realm by helping businesses to understand requirements and supporting them in complying. And whilst the circumstances were at times, really very difficult, we wanted to use this opportunity to capitalise on direct engagement, which would promote behaviours that in turn promote compliance by businesses and through to the public. And so with this in mind, we also wanted to capitalise on pooling resources between our regional authorities, not only to relieve pressure on our already stretched resources, but to improve and simplify the way that we engaged with businesses and delivered consistent, supportive and helpful messages. We considered lots of different ways of engaging with local businesses in need, and we looked at what information was already out there and the information format and stream, and decided that during unprecedented times, we wanted to do things a little differently. We were acutely aware that there was potential to overwhelm with seemingly helpful information, and so opted for a short and snappy approach. The design work behind the engagement campaign was shared regionally. Officers from each authority studied the government sector specific guidance and identified the most helpful information to share with businesses to secure compliance. We also tackled generic cross-sector issues such as undertaking a COVID risk assessment, cleaning, queue management, and so on, to allow businesses to quickly and efficiently focus on the regulatory areas relevant to them. After securing support from media and communication officers within the region, we produced a raft of short, snappy, informative videos that ran for around 1.5 minutes each that we were able to share with local businesses across the region through a multitude of channels. We found that the .gov notify system was really, really helpful in bulk emailing thousands of businesses at a time. And was shared really heavily via social media channels such as YouTube and absolutely through Facebook. On the run up to step 2, we'd produced around 25 of these sector specific and generic top tip videos that were reviewed and updated each time we approached either a regulatory step change or received new or updated guidance. And the response that we've had to the videos has been absolutely fantastic. It's always a little bit of a gamble when you try something new, but the feedback combined with the communication reach, which my communication colleagues tell me extends into millions now, tells us that we've actually done something that we now really want to extend right across our regulatory board. I'm going to finish the presentation with one of the videos so that you can see what we actually did. But if there's anything that you'd like to ask about the videos or our regional approach, please feel free to get in touch with me at this email address. Thank you.
that was the North East videos. They are currently playing the audio again. They're currently working on some allergens related videos, and hopefully you'll all be able to see those in the next couple of months. But if you are interested in the video project, particularly the outcomes and the stats related to it, please do contact Pam, and she's more than happy to speak to you. So we'll move down the country now a little bit to the Yorkshire and Humber area. So this is a region that we're developing an SRN in. So we've got Ruth Rhodes with us today, I'm hoping, and she is, I'm calling her our interim chair. I'm not entirely sure that's the title that she would like to be called by. And the OPSS lead for the area is Jackie White. So if you haven't spoken to Jackie White yet and you're from the Yorkshire and Humber area, she is coming for you. So beware. Over to you, Ruth.
Hi, yeah, I think interim chair is probably the right title, or maybe caretaker chair. I think that's probably what I'm calling myself. Yeah, so in this region, there's been quite a large amount of change over the past couple of years in terms of our chair has moved on, but also within the Growth Hub and also the elected mayor's office as well. So all that has happened in sort of the last 2 years in and amongst COVID, when, of course, a lot of the focus naturally from all the local authorities within the Yorkshire and Humber have been focused on COVID. So we do have sort of informal groups set up. We have been discussing and agreeing in terms of sort of COVID measures, the messages to put out there, some of the comms, and also accessing some of the funds, so such as Welcome Back Fund, looking at, again, sort of reopening businesses, looking at webinars and how-to videos and things like that. In terms of moving the group forward, we are looking for a chair. Hint, hint, everybody please put in the chat their interest now. And we really want to re-energise this area. There's some great work going on in the Better Business for All terms, Primary Authority, and with the strategic network as well. And it would be really, really good to be able to link it all together. And that's what's missing at the minute, in all honesty. In terms of starting that out, myself and Jackie White have met with various bodies and various partners. So the Growth Hub, we met with the new leads there a few months back. And we have also met with some of the Better Business for All former leads as well. So really, it's just about getting some projects together, getting some ideas together of where we can lead this and take it forward. So I'm hoping some people will join me in the groups later on, and we can really get some ideas bouncing. Appreciate any ideas, even if you can't put your hand up and take them forwards. So at least perhaps I can take that on and get some objectives and some plans set out, and we can go from there, really. So short and sweet, it's just a bit of a plea and a bit of a call to arms, really, for this region, because we want to showcase the fantastic work that's going on, and we don't want everybody to miss out. Jackie, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
Thanks, Ruth. Yeah, just to echo your thoughts, it is a call to arms. We've been asking for a while now in terms of somebody to come forward and be a chair. Even co-chairs. I think co-chairs is something that we've discussed as well. So if you feel that being a chair would be too much work, we can certainly look at co-chairs. But as Ruth said, the foundations are there, but we need to build on them. We need to get back to sort of where the groups were pre-COVID. So we're going to fight this and we're going to get it back on track. So thank you.
We will do this. Come on, Jackie, we can sort this out. Thank you.
Thank you. I can get myself off mute then. The SRNs are such friendly bunches. So if you are in the Yorkshire and Humber area, please come in and join our network and be our friend. So we'll move. I'm trying to visualise a map here. We'll move west now to the northwest. So Dave, unfortunately, isn't with us today. I do think we've got Nick Redrop on the line, who is the PARG chair for the northwest, and we've got Kate Harris, who is babysitting the northwest region on behalf of OPSS at the moment, while Jackie Fitzsimons is off. But I do have a video from Dave, and Kate and Nick will be happy, I'm sure, to answer anything if anyone's got any questions. So there you go.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Watson. I'm the chair of the North West Strategic Regulatory Network. I'd just like to give you an update on the work of the North West Group. Firstly, can I thanking the sub-regional leads for their support and hard work during a very challenging year. Secondly, can I just make a quick point about BBFA? Intelligence-led regulation in the public interest not only protects the consumer, but creates a market for responsible businesses to innovate and grow. It is important that we work in partnership with businesses to understand their needs and to work together to promote compliance. BBFA gives us an excellent framework to achieve this. So, some key highlights from the North West Strategic Regulatory Network. First of all, looking at primary authority, thanks to Nick Redrop, who chairs the PARG. The PARG has held a number of specific topic-focused sessions over the last 12 months. They've looked at best practice, assured advice, the role of national regulators, understanding devolution, and they're now looking at cost recovery. It's a very successful group, and I thank the group for their hard work and commitment. The Greater Manchester Centre of Excellence model continues to go from strength to strength. This is a partnership looking at primary authority. They have 42 primary authority schemes signed up, and they've delivered over 900 hours of primary authority services in the first 3 quarters of this year alone. They're currently reviewing all their partnerships, carrying out site visits, and providing specialist guidance and support where required. BBFA has also been instrumental in helping businesses to reopen safely and in maintaining consumer confidence. The group has prepared reopening safety videos across the region, and the Greater Manchester videos alone have been viewed nearly 1,000 times on YouTube. Lancaster City Council has launched their own COVID safety assurance scheme, and around 160 businesses are committed to the scheme. The North West Group has provided funding to look at customers and the public of how they can raise concerns and to work with businesses. It's fair to say that hospitality has been disproportionately hit by the pandemic. The North West Group again are looking to launch research into the needs of the nighttime economy and the role of regulators to promote innovation and growth. Allergens, we've rolled out allergen workshops on Natasha's Law again across the entire region, with over 100 businesses attending the Manchester session alone. These workshops are available on YouTube, and the Greater Manchester session has been viewed over 300 times. Tourism is incredibly important. We've met with the Tourist Alliance and Visit England and introduced destination marketing organisations and regulators. We've got successful projects in place in Cumbria. So there's a lot of work that's taken place within the North West Strategic Regulatory Network, and we continue to meet as a group. We've established partnerships in Cumbria and Lancashire, and we've built on the excellent work in Greater Manchester. As always, we welcome new members and continue to use the framework provided by BBFA to support compliance, innovation, and growth. Thank you.
Just pause that so it doesn't start looping again on it. So yeah, that was Dave Watson. Again, Dave's happy to be contacted. His email address can be found in the delegate pack on a chair's table. So we'll just keep going. So we'll move down to the West Midlands now. So the chair of the West Midlands is Jonathan Toy, and the OPSS lead is our newest member of local delivery, Stuart Wilden. So straight over to you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Nicole. Welcome everybody. Really nice to be able to join you today. I've been chair of the West Midlands now for just under a year, so it's been it's quite a steep learning curve with the amount of work going on in the West Midlands. My role is service manager for trading standards and community safety for Warwickshire County Council, and we have a whole array of different programs that have been going on across the West Midlands in the last year. We could all of us, I think, talk all morning about the work that we've been doing in terms of COVID response and how we work with businesses. It's been a really important part of our approach to provide businesses with the very best information and advice so that they can operate safely, they know the parameters that they're working within, and that we can support them to achieve the best in this really difficult and challenging and very varied climate that we've all been facing. Similar to other areas, we've been doing lots of videos, lots of information, and lots of collaboration across different regulatory bodies, and collaboration really has been absolutely the heart of our approach with West Midlands, both to COVID, but also to some other really big issues that affect businesses within our areas, such as avian flu, which is hugely impacts our farming community and our food manufacturing community over the autumn period. And we had several outbreaks of avian flu that impacted our region and required an enormous amount of collaboration across our partner organisations, districts, environmental health, trading standards, food safety, and the police in helping us manage those response. And we've actually ended up in a scenario in the West Midlands where we've actually got delegated authority across regulators to help us respond to that. So that's been a really, really positive approach. A lot of that good work has come from what we've been doing within the COVID world. Similar to others have been saying as well, we're very much looking towards projects that will make a big difference in the future. Our good colleague Kieran over in Worcestershire has been working with street pastors to develop a programme that can involve street pastors in managing the nighttime economy, so they're not seen as just an add-on to the work they're doing. They're actually seen as part of the very fabric of the work they do with the nighttime economy, and they're giving a small amount of funding to help them support that. Our colleague Greg up in Wolverhampton is leading on a fantastic piece of work to address things like chauffeuring. We have a big issue in terms of chauffeur businesses which probably are not operating or running in the way that they should do. And although the number is small in terms of the operators we use, there's hundreds upon hundreds of people out there in our communities and within our business sector who use those services. And we're even finding some of the very basic elements around safeguarding aren't maintained. So we're doing some great work on that, which we'd love to share across the region. And finally, for the West Mids, I really can't leave this without talking about the Commonwealth Games. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming up in this summer, long awaited. We absolutely want businesses to be part of that conversation and enable businesses to make every success they possibly can of the Commonwealth Games, whilst at the same time maintaining some of the integrity in terms of trademark, etc. So we're really keen to work with businesses through the Commonwealth Games period for the West Midlands, and very much look forward to working with you. And if people would like advice, support, things that they can do over the Commonwealth Games, come and talk to us. We'd be really keen to do that. So thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. We're all very excited about the Commonwealth Games. I'm from Walsall, which is, for those of you who don't know, about 20 minutes outside of Birmingham. And we're very excited here. So we're on the countdown. So thanks. So we'll move across now to the East Midlands. The chair is Alan. Alan Twells. I'm sure many of you have met Alan over the years that he's been involved with us. And the OPSS lead is Caroline Clark. So thanks, Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Yeah, morning, everybody. My name is Alan Twells. I'm Head of Regulatory Services at Charnwood Borough Council. And I currently chair the East Midlands Strategic Regulatory Network. And for those that have been keeping up with the chat, just for your information, my first record was police. Don't stand so close to me, which is quite pertinent for the last couple of years we've had. So that's just for your pleasure there. So moving on to the Strategic Regulatory Network for the East Midlands. And like I say, I'm the chair, but currently we did have a vice chair, but unfortunately OPSS have pinched Stuart and so we will be looking now for another chair, vice chair moving forward. We've held 3 meetings over the past year, and these have involved all sort of areas of regulatory services and regulation. We've had reps from environmental health, trading standards. We've also had ACAS, Institute of Licensing, and more recently the National Fire Chiefs Council, a rep from Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Services is also coming on to the regulatory network. So what we've tried to do across the East Midlands is involve all partners and also try to link in with the businesses, because clearly we were looking at the Better Business for All work as well, and how can we link in with businesses to support businesses to enable good regulation really across the area. So we've involved the Federation of Small Businesses, the East Midlands Chamber of Commerce, and a lot of the LEPs across the region as well. So the LEPs have been to a number of these meetings now and provide us with updates about what's going on in their particular area, and our officers can link in with their sort of growth hubs. So presentations from Lincolnshire and also D2N2, which is the Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire sort of LEP. And then in the next meeting, we've got the Leicestershire LEP growth hub, who's going to provide a presentation for the network. We've also had in the East Midlands as well, we've had that was in Nottinghamshire as well, a Meet the Regulator event, and that's in D2N2's area, where it was the regulators meet the LEP colleagues as well, and highlight what they do, so it's a bit of a two-way process. We've also had Meet the Regulator with Visit England, so the tourism sector and hospitality sector, who have a lot of links in with businesses across the area really, and we're intending to roll that out across other regions and other counties within the area as well. So that's where we can learn to signpost people to the Visit England website, where there's a lot of regulatory information on there as well, which has been very useful to link in. We do see this, I personally see this as a two-way process, as well as cascading information out from the government through OPSS. It's also a chance for us across the region to input into what's happening locally and anything that's happening nationally on legislation. We've certainly been actively involved in the COVID work, like we've said really. And we've got examples across the region where we're also collaborating on the COVID work, and we've certainly linked in with a lot of different government departments in the policy sector relating to COVID work, so we've been able to feed in with that as well, and hopefully that will continue as we go forward. One sort of we've used in the funding, obviously we've been allocated funding, and one area we're particularly looking at and developing at the moment is ACAS have been involved in the partnership, and ACAS are developing a business charter for the Midlands, and we've sort of been involved in that, and we've had presentations on that, and we're sort of evolving that and hopefully promote it to businesses across the area, because that does have some regulatory inputs within the charter itself. Another area, obviously the region has been actively involved in is Primary Authority Regional Group, and that feeds into the Strategic Regulatory Network as well, and they've been meeting regularly as well, and they've done some cost recovery consistency exercises as well across the area, and that's been working excellently to promote best practice really across the area. And then finally, one thing we're looking at forward, sort of looking really now, one area we're keen to get involved in is the regulatory services and recruitment and the problems we're all experiencing, whether we can share experiences and also feed into central government as well about the problems we're having at the moment from a recruitment point of view, and see if we can improve that, and look at make it more sustainable sort of moving forward. And that gives you a quick run through of what we've been happening in East Midlands.
Thanks, Alan. Lots going on. So next region is the South East. Unfortunately, Paul Hobbs isn't with us today. He's the chair of the South East. The OPSS lead there is Neil Boyle. But we do have a video from Paul, so please bear with me while I load that up.
Good afternoon all. My name is Paul Hobbs and I'm Principal Environmental Health Officer at Horsham District Council. I am also the Chair of the South East Strategic Regulatory Network, or SRN for short. Our SRN receives excellent support from our local delivery team regional lead, who is Neil Boyle. And our network is made up of the Chair of the South East Primary Authority Regional Group, Better Business for All Programme Managers, LEPs and Growth Hubs, Environmental Health Officers, Trading Standard Officers and Fire Officers representing the local authorities and fire and rescue services in the South East, representatives from Chambers of Commerce and reps from business support bodies like the Federation of Small Businesses. Our main aims are to try and encourage a strategic overview of the work that all the BBFA groups in the South East deliver, and also the South East Primary Authority Regional Group. We want to help develop and share news of work being done to help simplify the delivery of regulation. And my offer to anyone in an LA or fire and rescue service or business support organisation in the South East is to come and see for yourself how we engage and share our experiences and expertise in the areas of enforcement, regulation and business support. Let me try and give you a flavour of the type of topics we cover in the South East SRN. Updates from Office of Product Safety and Standards are presented to us by Neil Boyle, and these can include news on how to get involved in some of the priority work plans of the local delivery team, or news on any funding opportunities that may be available. These initiatives are focused on trying to simplify the delivery of regulation, a good example being the Regulators Pioneer Fund. Another great example was the recent sharing of news from BEIS on their publication of the government's net zero strategy back in October last year. But again, the focus here was on how LAs and businesses can support and engage in this, and indeed have access to any funding opportunities. The South East Strategic Regional Network has successfully accessed funding direct from Office of Product Safety and Standards, as indeed have other regional SRNs. We also have opportunities to access other government funding. And in the past year, we have used some of this funding to fund 2 primary authority cost recovery surveys. These explored a range of aspects related to fees, cost recovery, review processes, and the frequency of fee reviews. These have been made available to all other local authorities throughout England, Scotland and Wales. Just a good example of an output that is a useful resource that officers can use in decisions with local finance teams to help them make regional and national comparisons. It's important that the various bodies who engage with businesses are aware of each other's work and share good practice so we can help one another to support businesses. One example of this was the Hertfordshire County Council developing their COVID toolkit webpage of resources and providing a helpline to support for businesses. They used funding to provide businesses with discounted memberships to the Federation of Small Businesses and Chamber of Commerce, so they could access free legal helpline. Sometimes we invite guest speakers to our network meetings, again to share and learn from other people's experience and expertise. An example of an LA sharing good regulated practice was provided to us by Elmbridge Borough Council, who showed how they used an IT platform already used by hundreds of local authorities to help them record and document their food hygiene inspections digitally on a tablet or a mobile phone. It's been a difficult year for all of us in the ever-changing world of COVID rules and new government legislation. The regional groups are a great resource to share this best practice, and I, for one, have been glad of its support. Many thanks to the local delivery team, and in particular our regional lead, Neil Boyle. Thank you.
Neil, do you want to come in and say anything?
Yeah, Nicole, I don't want to repeat everything that Paul just said. And you can tell I helped Paul with that script, can't you? Because he mentioned my name at least 3 times. So I'm nice and blushed now. Neil Boyle is my name, for those of you who haven't met me yet, part of the local delivery team. The regions that I lead on are Wales and the South East. As you've just heard, we are still considering an SRN or SRN similar type structure in Wales, and I hope we come to that at some point in the future. I've not been supporting Paul for terribly long, so I still have a lot to learn, especially from BBFA managers. Lauren Dovey in the past, when she was a BBFA manager, was very good at updating us with all their activity from Hertfordshire, as she's moved on to the Federation of Small Business, and we look forward to Lauren's input later in our breakout, but also hearing about her work in the FSB. Also look forward to Sam Hudson, who's on a secondment and is now a BBFA manager. We get input, as Paul said, from the South East Park, and his example there was the cost recovery project. That's something that Michelle Manson grabbed the bull by the horns, as it were. It was something that was very professionally and very quickly put together by all the chairs of the parks. And they've done 2 surveys, second one being with larger numbers, including from Welsh local authorities. They do receive updates from me, and I try to include as many policy areas from OPSS as possible, particular emphasis on how people can engage in our work plans. We have guest speakers from time to time. If you're a local authority working in the South East, or a business support organisation or growth hub, please come along to one of our meetings or email me. I can put my email in the chat. Particular emphasis on the content of these meetings. We want things to be reusable and reshareable. And a good example that Paul just showed was the innovation and technical category winners in our Regulatory Excellence Awards at Elmbridge Council. They received a highly commended award for the work that they've done to show how they can use mobile phones and tablets in their food inspections. So that's all from me for now.
Thanks, Neil. So Neil is our chair for the South East. He's also our Welsh correspondent. So we'll move across to the Southwest now, and I'm breezing over London, but we'll come back to London at the end. So we've got the lovely Suzanne Mccutcheon here with us, with the nicest background I've seen all day, or all week, I suppose. So over to you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Nicole. Good morning. My name is Suzanne Mccutcheon. I'm Team Manager for Safety and Standards at Bath and North East Somerset Council. So I manage environmental health and trading standards teams, and I'm the chair for the Southwest Strategic Regional Partnership. It would be remiss of me not to firstly thank all regulators for their hard work over the last 2 years. I don't know one that isn't exhausted by the challenges the pandemic has posed. It's not been easy interpreting and implementing legislation, often with less than a day's notice, and then provide our local businesses with the support they need to implement the requirements. Our thanks should also go to OPSS local delivery team colleagues for their help and support in finding answers for the many queries the often hurriedly prepared legislation posed. I'm sure we can all remember whether or not a Scotch egg constitutes a substantial meal, or when does a garden shelter become substantially enclosed. Whilst looking back, these seem quite insignificant issues, but at the time it meant it was make or break for many businesses who had suffered financially from lockdown. Thanks to Catherine and OPSS colleagues, I and the other regional strategic network chairs were asked to meet regularly with civil service colleagues and give feedback on the proposed regulations. But before you say anything, in our defence, our feedback was not always acted upon. Here in the Southwest, tourism plays a significant role in the local economy of most councils. In lockdown, many of the local workforce from this sector found employment elsewhere, leaving the tourism sector with a significant skills gap post-lockdown. When the economy reopened, as foreign holidays were still out of bounds for most, there was the staycation boom. However, businesses were faced with a shortage of staff, let alone trained staff, And so as regulators, we focused our efforts on how to support this sector of the local economy. The South West SRN projects in 2021 focused on providing online training packages and support for the hospitality sector, mainly on dealing with allergens. Also, an online infographic interactive tool was produced to help train staff on food hygiene. And we also produced materials in other languages such as Somali and Urdu. One interesting fact that we found following the translation into Somali was that instead of 14 allergens, there were only 13. And this is because there's no word in the Somali language for peanut. In 2021-22, as we moved into a recovery phase of the pandemic, we have focused our attention on what we can do as regulators to help businesses move forward and help them focus on the challenges of the future, such as net zero, and help them see this as a benefit to them, not an added expense. We currently have 3 main projects being funded by OPSS. The first, funded by our local allocation, is looking at how we can use social media to promote primary authority and its benefits to business. Our second project is being funded by the Net Zero Fund. The Wasted Food project is looking at how to minimise food waste by raising awareness with SMEs, in particular bed and breakfast providers. Many of these in rural locations face high waste collection charges, so this project is aimed at helping them save money as well as the environment. Mike Berry from Mendip, who is leading this project, will be provided more detailed information on this project in the next session. Our third project is looking at hot tub safety and builds on the work previously done on swimming pool safety. As hot tubs are one of the most searched for requirements when looking for accommodation, it certainly is something that will provide support for many businesses. Finally, the West of England and Wiltshire BBFA groups hosted a training event organised by Visit England, Visit West and Visit Wiltshire. They followed a similar format used in other parts of the country. Visit West were able to share with local regulators the resources they have available to support the businesses. The Pink Book provides businesses with all the information they require. It is regularly reviewed and updated and is an invaluable source of information. It's available from Visit England in both hard copy and as a downloadable online resource. It's also a valuable tool for local enforcers. And finally, I'd like to thank Teresa Isaacs, who was our regional support officer from OPSS, but she's now moved on. So I also like to thank Jackie and now Stuart, who is our new regular coordinator, and also Khadija for all her help and support in keeping the work of the regional SRN going. And finally, I just want to make final thanks to Sue Powell, who has recently become chair of the South West PARG. She's doing a sterling job and obviously will be able to report more on the work that PARG has done next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, I think those thanks are echoed, particularly to Khadija. I'm sure you've all had some communication with. She keeps all of our SRNs afloat. And very appreciative of what she does. And of course, Teresa, some of you may have noticed that with Teresa Light this week, it's because she's abandoned us for our Ports and Borders team. So that's why you haven't seen her. So we've got our last regions update now, which is the London region. I don't think Valerie is with us now, but Kate Harris is the OPSS lead for London. So any questions, she's happy to answer those. Kate, did you want to say anything before I play the video?
No, I'm fine. I was just going on camera in anticipation.
Hello everybody, my name is Valerie Simpson and I work for the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham Council, and I'm currently the chair of the London Strategic Regulatory Network. We've been asked today to give an update about our work over the last year, and I'm very pleased to be able to introduce you to our Deputy and Vice Chairs. If I go first to Sarah, who'll be talking about some of the work that we've done with our regulators.
Hello, I'm Sarah Newman and I work for the London Borough of Bromley. I'm the Deputy Chair to Val on the London SRN. We work with all regulatory colleagues across London, more of which you'll hear of later. We've held several sessions as a new SRN, and we've had 2 already with over 100 people coming from across London. Our next meeting is in April, and I'd urge you all to come along and to work together with colleagues from all the local authorities and the fire and police service. You're all welcome. Thank you. And I'd now like to pass you on to Stuart.
Hello, my name's Stuart Radnich and I'm the lead coordinator for London Trading Standards. Sadly, my colleague Paulette Samuels, who holds a similar role for Alum, leads the coordination of environmental health for the area of London. So both mine and Paulette's roles are key in the support of both Valerie and Sarah in their important roles in leading the London SRN. And now I'll pass you back to Valerie.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Just before I talk about one of our key projects this year, other highlights that we've been working on and will also maybe factor in our work for the forthcoming year is London Trading Standards Week. We had a really successful London Trading Standards Week that was supported by Ops in terms of supporting businesses in 2021, looking to be bigger and better in 2022. So starting to think about ideas and plan for that then. And also our nighttime economy, looking to support businesses in the nighttime economy and raise awareness about initiatives such as Arts Angela and wave training as well, working very close with our police colleagues. But one of the other projects that we're really excited and keen to tell you about is our project around diversity in regulation. And at the back of last year, we, as a London Strategic Regulatory Network, became a member of the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And they actually have 2 subgroups for an Asian Business Association and a Black Business Association. I'm pleased that we're joined today by Menelik Shingenford, who's our account manager for the LCCI. We'll tell you a bit more about that. Hi, Menelik.
Hi, Valerie, and thank you for having me. As mentioned, I work for the London Chamber of Commerce. I am a sector account manager, looking after hospitality brands, tech companies, charities, but more recently, the Asian Business Association, as well as the Black Business Association. So we set up these groups not only to network and to come together to kind of help liaise and meet other collaborators, but also to address barriers like the lack of access to capital for both Asian-owned businesses and Black-owned businesses. So working with London SRN, we aim to change the narrative around regulation and allow these businesses to work much closelier with the regulators and to actually benefit from their wealth of information and knowledge. We have a London Chamber community app, which allows the London SRN and other companies and regulators to directly connect with our members in both the Asian Business Association and Black Business Association, which creates a great place to share content, ask questions, gain feedback, but most importantly, actually build a meaningful relationship with these communities that will result in a better working and thriving London. I'm really pleased to work closely with the London SRN going forward, and I'm sure there's going to be many successes to be talked about over the next year.
Thank you very much, Menelik, and thank you all for attending and listening. Thank you.
Great, so with that's all of our regionals roundups done. I think we've kept a pretty good time. I thought we were going to run massively over, so now we're going to take kind of the next 20 minutes to break off into regional rooms. So by magic, Khadija should be posting some breakout room links into the chat. So if you click on the region that you belong to, and you will go into a room with your OPSS lead, and some of the rooms have the chairs. Unfortunately, not all the chairs are available, so you may just be greeted with one of us, and we'll be going kind of through what an SRN is, what the priorities are for your regional SRN, and how to get involved, and just a bit of an open forum to discuss anything that you want to, really. So Are we getting breakout rooms?
Yeah, I don't think I can put the links in, but I have tried whilst everyone's speaking to assign people to each room, so we'll just open now.
Okay, great. Do I need to click a button? Oh no, they're all open.
Yeah, I'm opening them now.